The researcher whose work is at the center of the Facebook Cambridge Analytica data analysis and political advertising uproar has revealed that his method worked much like the one Netflix uses to recommend movies. In an email to me, Cambridge University scholar Alexander Kogan explained how his statistical model processed Facebook data for Cambridge Analytica. The accuracy, he claims, suggests it works about as well as established voter targeting methods based on demographics like race, age and gender. If confirmed, Kogan's account would mean the digital modeling Cambridge Analytica used was hardly the virtual crystal ball if you have claimed. Yet the numbers Kogan provides also show what is, and isn't, actually possible by combining personal data with machine learning for political ends. Regarding one key public concern, though, Kogan's numbers suggest that information on users' personalities or psychographics was just a modest part of how the model targeted citizens. It was not a personality model strictly speaking, but rather one that boiled down demographics, social influences, personality and everything else into a big correlated lump. This soak up all the correlation and call it personality approach seems to have created a valuable campaign tool, even if the product being sold wasn't quite as it was billed. The promise of personality targeting in the wake of the revelations that Trump campaign consultants Cambridge Analytica used data from 50 million Facebook users to target digital political advertising during the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Facebook has lost billions in stock market value, governments on both sides of the Atlantic have opened investigations, and a nascent social movement is calling on users to. But a key question has remained unanswered: was Cambridge Analytica really able to effectively target campaign messages to citizens based on their personality characteristics, or even their inner demons, as a company whistleblower alleged? If anyone would know what Cambridge Analytica did with its massive trove of Facebook data, it would be Alexander Kogan and Joseph Chancellor. It was their startup Global Science Research that collected profile information from 270,000 Facebook users and tens of millions of their friends using a personality test app called Thesis Your Digital Life. Part of my own research focuses on understanding machine learning methods, and my forthcoming book discusses how digital firms use recommendation models to build audiences. I had a hunch about how Kogan and Chancellor's model worked, so I emailed Kogan to ask. Kogan is still a researcher at Cambridge University. His collaborator Chancellor now works at Facebook. In a remarkable display of academic courtesy, Kogan answered. His response requires some unpacking, and some background. From the Netflix prize to psychometrics back in 2006, when it was still a DVD-by-mail company, Netflix offered a reward of $1 million to anyone who developed a better way to make predictions about users' movie rankings than the company already had. A surprise top competitor was an independent software developer using the pseudonym Simon Funk, whose basic approach was ultimately incorporated into all the top team's entries. Funk adapted a technique called singular value decomposition, condensing users' ratings of movies into a series of factors or components, essentially a set of inferred categories, ranked by importance. As Funk explained in a blog post, so, for instance, a category might represent action movies, with a lot of action at the top, and slow movies at the bottom, and correspondingly users like action movies at the top, and those who prefer slow movies at the bottom. Factors are artificial categories, which are not always like the kind of categories humans would come up with. The most important factor in Funk's early Netflix model was defined by users who loved films like Pearl Harbor and The Wedding Planner, while also hating movies like Lost in Translation or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. His model showed how machine learning can find correlations among groups of people, and groups of movies, that humans themselves would never spot. Funk's general approach used the 50 or 100 most important factors for both users and movies to make a decent guess at how every user would rate every movie. This method, often called dimensionality reduction or matrix factorization, was not new. Political science researchers had shown that similar techniques using roll call vote data could predict the votes of members of Congress with 90% accuracy. In psychology, the Big Five model had also been used to predict behavior by clustering together personality questions that tended to be answered similarly. Still, Funk's model was a big advance. It allowed the technique to work well with huge datasets, even those with lots of missing data, like the Netflix dataset, where a typical user rated only few dozen films out of the thousands in the company's library. More than a decade after the Netflix prize contest ended, SVD-based methods, or related models for implicit data, are still the tool of choice for many websites to predict what users will read, watch, or buy. These models can predict other things, too. Facebook knows if you are a Republican in 2013. Cambridge University researchers Michal Kaczynski